Watching. We got this new rig setup. It was given to me by Josh, that camera guy. So thank you very much, Josh. Also, check out his channel, that camera guy 98. But I don't have the microphone set up. What I do have set up is the light. Oh, that's bright, huh? Oh, that's bright. Might be too bright. That should be a little better. But yeah, let's see. We're gonna wait a little bit, let some people hop on. This is gonna be the pre-lift live. If you just if this is your first time with us, what we do is we hang out for a little bit. We drink the pre-workout. We talk about arm wrestling. What's up, Sayla? Long time no see. Or actually, it has been a long time because you missed practice. I meant to say long time no talk because you watched, we talked in the live yesterday. What? What's up, Josh? What's up, Brian? Brian, how's the arms feeling? Pretty good? Not too bad? What would you guys like to talk about? Anything interesting happened since yesterday? Sailor says he was complaining how sore he was still from Jersey. I feel you. I'm in that same boat, but it's good. But it's good. Josh says my anxiety. LOL. I feel you. Josh has been trying to help me out with the technical side, and I don't know what it is, but for some reason technology always acts very weird whenever I touch it. It's like I have a magnetic field or something. Um, but there's got to be some pros in there. If I get lost, maybe you can find me with a compass. Just follow the N, and it'll bring you right to Nick. So it says superpowers, anti-tech. Yeah, it's definitely anti-tech, but it makes it a little tricky when you try to do the YouTube stuff. But I guess that's the fun part, right? That's the learning part. Josh says opposite of the Midas torch. I don't know if I know what that is. Um, Maybe I do. What's up, Kaylin? She says, "What's up, Nick, Sailor, and friends? We're having a good time. I think we've only been on for a couple minutes. Um, but yeah, we could talk about pretty much anything. Arm wrestling. If you got any arm wrestling questions, if anything interesting happened, um, is the is it Devin? And does anyone know if the Devin and Vitaly match is confirmed for next East versus West? Is it confirmed or is it still in the talks? So Carolyn says, Josh T, bro, great video at Latimer's. Please ask the guys how last week's practice was this Sunday. Definitely a good question for Josh. Maybe you can make a little video of it. Interviewing the Team Latimer athletes. What's up, Matt? He says, hey, what's up, man? Just doing the old pre-lift live. We got the new rig setup. I got this fancy light set up. So this, this is what the light looks like when it's on. That's what it looks like when it's off. You know, which one looks better? The light on. Let's see. So this says that camera guy. I said I loved your strafe egg shot. I'm not sure what that is. And she says, Nick, yes, you read my mind. Please interview them. Yeah, that's a good idea. I got some good ideas once in a while. So, Sailor says, I want to talk about how Google lied to me when I looked up if Gabby and Barbara had a upcoming match. Never trust Google. Never trust Google. What did it say? Did it tell you the last match they had? The only match they had was the last match or something? Is that what they said? So let's see. Kalen says, Nick, the red, white, and blue in your labyrinth really pop with the light on. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's good. That's the labyrinth colors. There's the red, white, and blue. Most of the stuff is painted that, the weights and stuff, and except for some of the old pig iron. I didn't paint that, but pretty much everything is red, white, or blue. So let's see. Let's call this guy Mo. So Mo says, I'm from India, friend. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Mo, if you hang out for a while, I bet you'll see a lot of your Indian friends in the chat, because we usually get a lot of people from India. So if you like arm wrestling, you picked the right spot. Yeah. Yeah, I feel you, Celia. It's tricky, It's a tough lesson. You can't trust Google. So Josh says the light is key here, bro. Keeps the picture from going grainy. Oh, okay, cool. That's cool. That's definitely good. Let's see. Sailor says, I listened to someone commentating on the match. Guess Barbara was a beast. I did think she was going to win because she pulls tractors. Yeah, I mean, if I was thinking with the brain, I would have gone Barbara, but if I was thinking with the heart, I would have gone Gabby. But yeah, Barbara she is the female Levon, and it's only going to get more crazy from here. What's up, bro? Nick, he says, morning, bro. Appreciate that. Hopefully your arms are feeling just as good as mine, Let's see. So this is exactly love Gabby, but went with the brain gut on that one. Yeah, I feel you. So what's up, Fishing? Fishing says hello. Appreciate that, man. I tell you what, fishermen usually make good arm wrestlers. So if you're an arm wrestling fan, if you want to learn some more about arm wrestling, you picked the right spot. So Nick says, feeling great. They don't move right, but still okay, LO. That's good. That's good. Yeah, at least for me, the first 6 weeks were really, the newbie pain was really, really rough. It was interesting, but I don't think you're really getting like ripped open too much. You know what I mean? So that could be a big factor, which is good. Don't really want to get ripped open too much, especially if you're new. Um, let's see. Slug says chilly outside today. Yep, it definitely is. I don't know if you could see. It's just cold enough where you might barely see my breath, but it's just cold enough. Maybe not, but it's only gonna get colder from here. So Nick says hypertrophy workouts tear me up more than this, so I'm used to the recovery period. All right, that's good. But I think maybe I'm wrong. Now I think that I'm glad the guys are being nice to you. You know what I mean? It's just you're even though you're a big guy, you're still new, so they still got to treat you like a new guy. And I think everyone on the team definitely is. But be careful if you go somewhere else, because they might try to rip you up a little more. Well, that's definitely good that you're recovering. Slug says, I like when people rip through me. Feels good. Haha. Yeah, that's, once you kind of get into the sport a little bit, you can kind of handle it. And, the tendons and ligaments are a little more conditioned, plus at a certain point, you kind of need that crazy stimulus to, stimulate the tendons and the ligaments to, to grow and get stronger. What's up, Dustin? Dustin says, hey, bud, got my deer for this year. Oh, that's awesome, man. Did you use, is it gun season or bow season right now? It's gun season, isn't it? Use a rifle, or how'd you get it? Or did you just fucking chase it down and, strangle it? Is that how you got it? Nick says, you are all the best. Plus, you showed me how to lose properly. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll try to, keep it as safe as possible. But that being said, you could still do everything perfect and still, snap something. I've seen people pretty much in a perfect top roll and end up, breaking an arm. So there's always a risk. But I think you'll be good. Sailor says, no name Nick needs to be careful or someone flash pitting him. If you don't know how to lose, it can definitely hurt. Yeah, definitely. Especially if it's fast and, you don't see it coming. And if you commit to, a heavy side. Because Nick, I don't know if you saw the video, Sailor. Nick, he's got a good amount of side pressure, so it's kind of tricky. It's a little challenging for him to not, use that strong push, so we're trying to teach him how to pull back, but he's definitely getting there. But I think he understands there's a risk, So let's see. Slug says, yeah, exactly. To stimulate it, I feel like it makes me feel or get stronger, but sure, if you're in precarious positions, it can and will hurt. It definitely can. It definitely can. Dustin says, aha, I had a long foot race, but got him with the rifle. That's what I'm talking about. Man, I tell you what, that deer must have been like seeing you coming flying through the woods. It must have been, I wonder what was going through that deer's mind. Nick says, like Cartman said, Mama said, I'm big boned. Very true. And also, don't forget your weight gainer 5,000. I can't remember the rest of that episode, but you remember the weight gainer 5,000? I think it was an old episode, but that was a good one. Sheila says, yeah, that's what Brian was saying. But the word is he's strong and has great potential. Nice to see he came back to another practice. Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of potential. I mean, he's got a big hand. His arm is very, very long. So if you can learn how to use that long arm and big hand, it'll be off to a good start, you know. But anytime someone says the word potential, I always like to say this quote. Now, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm just saying I like this quote because I'm sure you heard it before, but it's like potential is as cheap as table salt. You just got to put in the work, kind of thing, you know. But I think he definitely, the fact that he's at, he came back to the second practice. Usually that means that they're going to be here for a while. Most people know. People usually practice once, feel real good, and then probably the pain kind of kicks in, or maybe it's they don't. It's not really worth it for them, maybe kind of thing, or they got other sports. But most people, one practice, and then that's it. But if you come back a second time, usually, that means you got bit by the old arm wrestling bug. Very contagious. Once you're bit, you're stuck with it. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, that's for sure. That's funny. Let's see. CG, I don't know who that is, but I appreciate the comment, man. And also, too, if you like arm wrestling, you picked the right spot, because we're talking about arm wrestling in the pre-lift live. Today is supposed to be, I'm not going to Massachusetts today. Wednesdays, I usually pull hard in Mass. Training I'm not mixed up, but my program is designed where it can be flexible, so it's supposed to be a medium heavy bench today, but I think we're gonna do the same exercises, but I think we're gonna drop down on weights intensity, because I'm pretty ripped up in a good way. But yeah, that's probably what we're gonna be. So after this live, we're gonna be here for a little bit. I still got at least over half of the pre-workout left, so we'll be here for a little bit. But after this live, if you want to see how I lift, that's gonna be another live. So let's see. Carolyn says, as cheap as table salt. Got to remember that one. I think the one-liners between Nick and Brian are outstanding. I got to start documenting them for sharing them with the lives. I appreciate that. I always say some of them should be put on a shirt. We got some interesting phrases. Some of them should not be put on a shirt because you might get in trouble with the old, what's it called? People that, cancel you or whatever. But let's see. It's happening. So CG says, you an arm wrestler? Absolutely. We do some arm wrestling. Slug says, I like the potential quote. Yeah, I can't remember where I heard it from, but I heard it a long time ago. And it's super simple, but it's definitely nice, you know, because you could turn that both ways. You know what I mean? You could take that, you know, that table salt quote and turn it into, like, say if you don't have, you know, super freak genetics, you can still put the hard work in, you know what I mean, and vice versa. If you have the super freak genetics and you don't put the work in, you know, you're not gonna, you know, it's the same thing, you know. Either way, you got to put the work in, you know. Let's see. Gavin says, can't wait for the most anticipated match of this year. The unknown shape of Chance versus HP and right arm Nick. Gonna be nuts. Absolutely. It's gonna be a good match. It's gonna be good. It's quick. It's coming up December 6th. It's gonna be on pay-per-view, Natty Bros YouTube channel under their memberships. There's also in-person tickets available. It's going to be at the Dave & Buster's in Woburn, Massachusetts. Yeah, it's going to be good. Sailor says 100%. She agrees. Kevin says, Nick, definitely interesting phrases and motivational. That's what I'm talking about. But thank you. I appreciate that. Josh says, cancel culture. Yeah, you got to watch out for that stuff. But they're losing their power. They're slowly losing their power. So Slug says, how you feel about your chances? 50-50? You think you are the underdog? Yeah, if I'm honest, I do think I'm the underdog. I think, well, mostly from experience. But that being said, I ain't losing. I am not losing. So it's going to be a good match. I do think I'm the underdog, but that being said, I ain't losing. I got a game plan. Very simple game plan, but I think it's going to be very effective. That's going to be a secret. I can't tell you guys. Some of the teammates know, but they can't tell you either. Let's see. Kayla says, and James Clark's match on the same card. I can't wait for his also. Yeah, it's going to be a cool match. That is going to be a cool match. I forgot the guy's name, but I know he's pretty good. James' opponent, so that should be a good match. Sales says, do you need a ride to your match? Yeah, I might need a ride. You know, but we'll see. We'll see. But if you guys are watching, maybe I'll hop in. But yeah, I should have the car up soon either way. But yeah, we can make a little field trip. Nick says, underdog in name only, notoriety. Could be, yeah, definitely true. You know, could be. So Kalen says, Nick, how much better right arm now versus Mondogas match at Arm Gods this year? I do think I am a lot better. I think that match it was definitely a tough loss, but that match showed me some things that I needed to adjust and change. So it's good. I do think I'm a lot better. And we will find out December 6th. It's going to be good. So let's see. Parth says, hello. What's up, man? Thanks for watching. If I had to guess, I think you're from India because that's a safe bet. We got a lot of people from India in the chat. Big arm wrestling following in India. Josh says James is freaky strong, great puller. Absolutely. He's probably got one of the best hands out there. I mean, his hand is very, very, very strong. You can ask his last opponent, Paul Passmore. When I was talking to Paul, he said James's hand was the strongest hand he felt, if I'm not mistaken. And that match is on this channel, Stone TV, under the membership. So if you want to see that match, and that was match of the night. So that match was absolutely a battle, back and forth all the way to the end. I can't tell you who won because that's for the people of Stone TV's membership to know, and maybe you can find out. So Par says, where are you from? I'm from the United States. Carolyn says, good, so glad the car is in the works. It's in the works. It's getting there little by little. I'm not super mechanical, but at the same time, I don't like people messing around with my car that I don't know who they are, you know, so that's probably what's taking most of the time. I mean, but that's the way it goes. Says, yeah, we definitely plan on going, so you got a backup just in case. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a good teammate right there. That's a good teammate right there. Slug says, you had a match with Mendogas? Yeah, I had a match with Mendogas. I was a fill-in for Corey West. Yeah, it was an interesting match. Yeah, it's on the Arm Gods channel. I think that's a pay-per-view too. If you want to check that out, you're gonna have to become a member of Arm Gods. And it's the big Mendogas, not the little Mendogas. The big one. So a lot of people know the little Mendogas, but it was the big Mendogas. He was the number one. I think he's the number one arm wrestler in England. So far, I faced two athletes that were number one in their country. Yoshi was number one in Japan. Mendogas was number one in England. So I think the reason why I bring that up, I think that's a good sign for North American arm wrestler, because I'm not I can't remember. Right arm, I don't think I'm ranked in the top 20. Maybe I am. It depends on where you look. But if, you know what I mean, if people in the, you know, not in the top 10, not in the top 20 are having matches with other countries that are number one, you know, I think that's a good sign to show how high the level is in North America. If that makes sense. So let's see. Parth says, I am from India. All right. My guess was right. Thanks for joining from India. We got a lot of Indian fans that like arm wrestling. Let's see. Carolyn says, salute India. Nick says, Indian folk getting out of work. Yeah, it's probably nighttime over there. Carolyn says, oh, hell yeah, Passmore made James a star. Yeah, definitely, you know. I think they helped each other out, you know. Not in the match, not during the match, that's for sure, but after the match, people started talking and stuff like that. Kevin says, in his pulling and platform of Dungeon Super Match. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that was an awesome day. Um, it was a really good time, and I highly recommend. I know I said before, but I highly recommend you watching the pay-per-view. Um, Part says, which city in the U.S.? Why, you making it to practice Saturday or Tuesday? Is that why you want to know which city? Somewhere on the East Coast. Maybe that will help you. Brian says Dolskis. Yep, my dog is Dolskis. That's the big one. Mohammed, I don't know what that means, but I appreciate the comment. Chance in the Hooks rankings. I didn't see you. Oh well. Will be soon. Definitely will. Definitely will. It's gonna be good. Hebrew says, "Yo, Santa from Antarctica." Yep, I've been known to some as Saint Nick. Actually, only one guy has called me that, and it didn't really stick. You know, maybe it will. You know, when I get old and everything's gray. But yeah, I appreciate that. Let's see. Slug says, "Oh, I was gonna say, I thought you were talking about Mendogas who had a match with Giannis." Yeah, yeah, that's why I said the big Mendogas, not the little Mendogas, because I don't really want to pull anybody under 300 pounds, unless they're, unless it's someone like Todd Hutchings or something like that. So Brownstone says, "Hello, what's up, Brownstone?" Says Saint Nick. That's funny. Let's see. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Nick. Okay, Josh is saying your Sigma is a compliment, calling you a lone wolf, so to speak. I appreciate that. Oh man, I don't know if you ever seen this movie. I watched it so many times as a kid. Blades of Glory. You guys ever see Blades of Glory with Will Ferrell and the guy from Napoleon Dynamite? Well, there's one scene where he's got this all tattooed up. He's got this wolf tattoo, and that's for some reason when he said lone wolf, I had a flashback of that movie when he's showing his tattoos, and he had this big lone wolf tattoo on his back or something. But I appreciate the comment from let's see, from who is that from? From Mohammed, if he's still in. I appreciate the compliment. Brian says, "Hey, what do you mean old?" I didn't say it. It was probably someone in the chat. But maybe old for like regular life, but for arm wrestling, it's just a pup, just a wee lad. You know, you're not old in arm wrestling until you're about 83. You know, like Norm Devia. I mean, he was still whooping butt until over 80. You know what I mean? It wasn't until he had a really bad. His hip was broken somehow, and that was the only thing that really slowed him down was that little hip. Well, I shouldn't say little hip. It was a really big. It was a big hip injury, but he's still back. He's still at practice. He's like, he's got to be 85. He's got to be 85 at least. Kaylin says St. Nick's. That's a good one, LOL. Now, this is from Sailor Brian, not from me. She says, Brian looks at least 50. That's good, you know. I guess it's better than looking 60, you know, unless you're 70 and look 60. But either way, he's a pretty good arm wrestler, so it doesn't matter what he looks like. Maybe the Sailor, but everyone else looks are secondary. And if you don't know, Brian and Sailor are married. So yesterday, people in the chat were asking about people, so you gotta leave them alone, you know. Because we made Sailor a moderator, I don't know if she'll be as strict as Josh, but we will find out. Oh, speaking of that, this has been a pretty, unless I'm missing comments and you guys are, you know, deleting them before I read them, but this has been a pretty troll-free, you know, live. So that's cool. Let's see. Nick says it's from the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. That one, that movie from the 90s or whatever it was. Nick says, I didn't mean to insult Brian when I said he looked 50. Yeah, that's probably, I call that gym brain, you know, so you just blame it on gym brain whenever you're working out. Just, you know, all the blood is in the muscles and stuff, and it's hard to get blood in the brain, so you say weird stuff. That's all it is. Just a little gym brain. Let's see. So this is Brian has Lone Wolf tattooed on his finger. Got that right after we got married. I was like, WTF? You mean Lone Wolf? That's funny. That's funny. You guys should get matching tattoos. Like, you know, some people get tattoos for like a wedding ring. You should get matching Lone Wolf tattoos. Or something like that. Just a thought. Just a thought. Brian says, LMAO. Hero says, what sport you guys talking about? We're talking about arm wrestling, man. You know, that's a good question, but we're talking about arm wrestling. What were we talking about? I think we were talking about movies for a little bit, but we're talking about arm wrestling. So we got any arm wrestling questions? Sailor says, arm wrestling hero. Brian says, you can't tame me. All right. Thank you very much, Kaylin. $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Let's see. Thanks for another pound down gains in your team inspiration, Team Stone. Membership practice here is great. Thank you very much, Kaylin. That's awesome. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. I also appreciate you watching. You know, because I know you watch, you know, even if you can't watch, you'll listen to it and then you'll watch it later. So I definitely appreciate that. Brian says win. I agree. Josh says wins in the chat for Carolyn. Absolutely. Carolyn says Sailor, badass moderator. Absolutely. Sailor says, I like to give people a chance. LOL, I think Josh deleted just one. Something about ice cream, LOL. That's good, you know. We kind of need, we need both. We need the you know, what's it, like the sweet and spicy. We need one that's a little softer and one that's a little spicy. You know, a nice mix. You know. Kaylin says Brian looked badass at Latimer's practice. Josh, I wonder what the team thought of pulling Brian. Also, that's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah, if you're looking for stuff to film, that's a good question to ask the guys if they're open to putting their face in front of the camera. I know a lot of people don't like the camera in their face, but that's the way of the YouTuber. Sailor says, haha, poor Nick, LOL. It's a nice inside joke now. Definitely is. Definitely is. Kalen says, ain't nothing wrong with 50. I'm 51 and oldest. Gym bro Brian is getting better. Like nothing get me down at work. Think about gym later, LO, and gains. Yeah, 51 is the new 31, especially with all the, new technology and medicine and stuff like that. I feel people can get stronger, at least, until 60, continue to get stronger and stronger, Josh says to Kalen, we loved every second. Yeah, it was definitely good training. Nick says, it's all love. Brian is good to me. Just wait until you're 6 months in. You'll be saying different stuff about him. But until then, he'll be super nice. But probably about 6 months, he'll probably start being a little not so nice. Still, Stacey will still be there, but he'll start pushing it a little more, I would think, Brian says, oh boy, here we go. That's funny. Kayla says, Sailor, I'm hustling to get dressed for work. Hope everyone has a great day. Thank you very much, Kaylin. Hopefully you make it to work on time. Yerv says, hello. What's up, Yerv? Thanks for watching. Sailor says, Josh is bad cop. I'm good cop. That's a good way of saying it. That's a good way of saying it. That's a good strategy, Good cop, bad cop. Let's see. Yerv says hi again. All right. Brian Johnson says, I just saw you versus Chance. Awesome. Yeah, man, it's happening. December 6th, state of Massachusetts. There's tickets for in-person and also going to be a pay-per-view on the Natty Bros YouTube channel. Brian Johnson says he's 56. That's perfect age for arm wrestling. He's still in the prime for arm wrestling. Kaylin says, Nick, badass, especially Norm Devio. Absolutely. So Nick says 6 months in, you'll have to watch out for me, LOL. I put in that work. No joke. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm excited to see where it goes in 6 months, So Dustin says, do you have starting advice for form? Now, when you mean, just want to clarify that question, Dustin. Do you mean like body position for the start of an arm wrestling match? Is that what your question is? But I would say, try to get as tight as possible. Get your hand as close as your body. Depending on which way you're going, you're going to want to have your elbow in, a different spot. Try to get your ulna and radius bone, this bone, right? These two bones as vertical, like not, some people set up like this. Try to set up more like this, if that makes sense. Maybe you can clarify that question. Maybe if I didn't answer what you're asked, maybe you can clarify it a little bit. Let's see. Brian says primed full on. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's going to be a good match. It's going to be a good match, that's for sure. So it says I got to get ready for acupuncture. Only bad cop left in the chat now. Good luck, guys. Good luck, everybody. Good luck, all the trolls. Be careful. Josh says, hey chat, the stream is about 20 seconds behind, and Nick also reads every relevant comment. Rest assured, he will get to you. I definitely will. Just a little bit of a slow to medium reader. Depends on who you ask. So Brian Johnson says, we named our club Full On Arm Wrestling. Named it this week. We are a new club in Northern New York, way up there. That's what I'm talking about, man. We should get. I know it's a far drive, but we should get some training in if you're ever in Connecticut. Get some good training. Bring all your team down. Get some good training. Let's see. Light says, can you bench press for a second? Not in this live, but after this live, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna set up another live, and I'm gonna be doing some bench pressing. It's going to be a recovery workout, so I may not even. It might just be the bar today. We're gonna see how it goes. Maybe I take that back. I'm probably gonna do dumbbells, but if you want to see my lifting, I do have my heavy lifts. There's benching in there, a whole bunch of good stuff. It's for members only, so if you want to see all my hardcore lifting, it's going to be for members only. On this channel, you have to become a member. But my recovery workouts are, those are only workouts I put on the regular YouTube. So Brian Johnson says, gotta go, Nick. Talk to you later. Chores are calling. All right, man. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out while you can. So Nick says, I was just going to ask if you were going to do dumbbell presses, LOL. Yeah, I'll probably do dumbbells today. It's been a little bit. I've been doing a lot of barbell lately. But I think I'll do dumbbells today, more reps. That might be the only exercise I really change. Maybe that and the skull crushers. Maybe I'll do dumbbells too. But yeah, it's gonna be more reps. So Brian says that's a good idea. Maybe I'll be able to do push-ups later. Arms are wrecked for anything else. Yeah, I feel you, man. In a good way, I don't think it's. I think it's a good feeling, good stimulus. But yeah, I'm going to warm up, and it could all change after the warm up, but more than likely, I don't think I'll touch anything heavier than a 40-pound dumbbell, at least for the presses. Let's see. Nick says, love me some skull crushers. Yeah, it's a good exercise, good for the elbow. Nick says, pulley track triceps extensions are also nice. Yeah, they're nice. I used to train a lot. I still train triceps, but not as much as when I was powerlifting. I used to train triceps tremendous. I didn't really train my biceps too much when I powerlift. Maybe like once or twice a year, I'll do a big bicep workout. But it's kind of switched now, I still do triceps, but not as much as I do the elbow flexors, which definitely makes sense, Let's see. Brian says, yeah, tri extension is one of my all-time favorites. The rolling tricep is brutal too. Nick showed me that one. Oh yeah, that's a good one. I like that exercise. I've done that exercise even when I powerlifted. I really like that exercise. A lot of people see it and they don't think it's a tricep exercise because there's the lat involved. but there was a lot of, when the lat is involved, there's a lot of force going through that tricep tendon. So it's good. You know, it's good for the tricep tendon. It's good for the elbow. It's good for the lat. The shoulder too. It's nice. Nick says it's a nice combo. Definitely is. Brian says one set, and they'll know. Yeah, they'll know. They'll definitely know. Let's see. So Josh says, I have gnarly nerve damage in my right arm. I can't feel or engage the lower part near the elbow. That was the side with the pronator tear, Josh, or that's not the side with the pronator tear. Josh says tricep, yes. Oh, okay, now I remember. See, nerves are weird. A lot of people say you know, once they're gone, you can't, you know, regrow them or heal them. You definitely can. You definitely can. It just takes a long time. Now, mine is probably not, definitely nowhere near as bad as yours, but my right hand, for the longest time, I had these two fingers, from here to here was all, you know, I couldn't feel anything. And I could only really move it if I looked, like I had to really look at it and move it. But you know, I had a cut that went through something. It must have went through a nerve or something. You know, I went to the doctors and they told, you know, they said, oh, it's going to be like that forever. But what I started doing is I just started like just moving it. If I couldn't move it, I would just move it like with my other hand, like these, you know, these fingers. I would just, you know, I would just move it with this, and then eventually, you know, like that movement will kind of recreate, you know, a pathway for things, you know. Now I don't really have any science behind it. It just, I guess bro science, kind of, not really, but that's interesting. But I do think nerves, even if they're like completely severed, I do think they will heal and, you know, reattach to something else or regrow a new pathway. But I think it takes a really long time. Let's see. I missed some comments. Let's see. Nick says I need to work on the shortened back rows with pronation and my wrist strength. Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything's pretty strong. You just got to know how to combine them, you know. But yeah, definitely. You just got to learn how to keep, you know, use that long arm. Don't let your hand drop when you pull back. It will get there. It will definitely get there. Josh says they will make new paths eventually. Definitely true. And then Josh says that was on my left. Couldn't feel the bottom three containment fingers. Feeling I'd finally back. Feeling I'd got finally back. That's what I think he means. Let's see. Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, okay, he's back. All right, finally he's back. That's good. That's what I'm talking about. So that means the fun part is just about to begin. Gonna get really strong now, Josh. You know, it's only a matter of time. So Chad says pork soup versus chicken soup for bulking. You're gonna need a lot of soup if you're planning on just eating soup to bulk. Um, but to answer that question, you might as well eat them both if you're bulking. I don't know. Thanks for the comment, Caden, but I don't know what you're talking about. I don't. Nick does, but I'm not sure who that is. Seems like a person. But I appreciate that. Josh says, on the left, when I decide to finally pull, people will know me. Definitely true. Definitely true, man. I mean, I pulled with you. You know, you probably think I'm just being nice, but I'm not. You know, there's definitely a lot of power there. You know what I mean? So it's only a matter of time before the beast awakens. That's funny. Kaden says he's on YouTube. Nick says he's a game streamer who flips out when his chat calls him fat. I won't flip out, but that being said, you better not use the F word, the hard T at the end, because that's a word only for us people to use. But I appreciate the comment. Let's see. Josh says, but he's cool as shit and funny. That's good. That's good. Nick says, Nick is a beast if you've seen him. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Brian says, yeah, the constant band work has definitely done something good for your tendons, Josh. Definitely true. Definitely true. And Josh is he's still pretty new. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 2 years. I think Josh has only been arm wrestling for 2 years. Maybe less if I'm not mistaken. But I think 2 years, if I remember. 2 years is a lot of time, but also not a lot of time, you know, especially in arm wrestling. Kind of need time to, adapt and evolve, you know. Josh says 2. Yeah, 2 years. That's what I thought. Steven says, hi, what's up, Steven? I'll tell you what, Steven. If you like arm wrestling, you picked the right spot. So if you got some arm wrestling questions, if you're wondering what arm wrestling is, ask some questions. So Josh says, my tendons need to hit the 5-year mark. ... The 5-year mark, yeah, definitely. I don't know about everyone else, but I noticed there was the first year there was a little change. Maybe another year there's a change. 4 or 5 there's a change, and I think there'll be another one around 7 to 10. There'll be another big change in terms of tendon ligament strength. Josh says to the cables. Yeah, definitely hit the cables. Make your tendons like cables, like those big cables on those bridges That's what you want your attendance to be like. Brian agrees. He says same. Yeah, that's good. Let's see. Let me check the time. Josh says, use that light from now on, big dog. Yeah, I definitely will. I definitely will. It's nice and simple to set up. Now I just gotta figure out the microphone. I might be missing a wire. That's what I was gonna ask about. I might be missing a wire to, let's see. So this is the microphone I was talking about. Well, you know the microphone, but I don't have the wire that plugs in from here to the phone. So that's what I was asking about before, Josh. I was asking, can I use, the aux cord wire, plug it into here, right into the phone? Or do I have to plug this into that adapter and then the adapter into the phone charger plug? So let's see. Brian says definitely no graininess at all. Oh, good. Yeah, I'll definitely put the light on. Like that. What's that hotel? Remember, I don't know why that popped in my head. We'll leave the light on for you. That motel that may or may not be around anymore. So these are the only wires I was able to see. Was this one, but I still don't have the plug for the, so I have a wire. I just gotta find it with the double aux cord. But I was wondering if I could use the microphone with just the aux cord, if that was possible. There's no black curly cord in here. Because I was looking at the manual. I looked all through it. I even checked out underneath and all the holes and everything. But the only wires I have are these two, the adapter. Yeah, unless I'm completely missing it, but I went through every single, because I see the wire on in the thing right here, but I don't have that wire, the curly one. Unless maybe it's in the backpack, maybe. So let's see. Okay, all right. So let's see. It's in the bag. All right, so it's got to be in the bag. So I appreciate that. We have, if not the best, I would say the best, but definitely one of the best, I would say the best technical teams out there. Got to deal with very unique problems, like some reason my phone speaks Spanish. Well, it's got to be in here somewhere. Ah, here we go. We found it. We found it. All right, cool. Problem solved. At least this one. So let's see. Jess says, I want to be mad. I really do, LOL. Sometimes you just gotta be like a river and just go with the flow. But sometimes that river comes to a dam and they just gotta knock down the dam. So maybe it's one of those dam situations. But that being said, I appreciate that. Brian says, dude's got so much tech now, he's in the Matrix. Yeah, man. It could be, you know. That's what it feels like. But we're learning. We're learning. We're definitely learning. Let's see. Laurel says, "Good morning. What's up, Laurel? Good morning. Hope you're doing good over there." Let's see. Josh says, "You have to plug it in a certain way now." Let's put the microphone down. All right, it's happening. It's happening. Cord, there's labels. All right. Let's see. Okay, nice and easy, nice and easy. Good thing you told me that because I had it backwards. All right, moment of truth. It's gonna be plugged in any second now. Might have to adjust the camera, tripod. All right, we are plugged in. Has the audio changed? Because we are plugged in. Let's see. Can you guys, anything change on the microphone? Anything change? I plugged the aux into the phone directly. I have my phone charging right now. Let's see. So hopefully this is it. Hopefully this works. Otherwise, I'll have to try it in the next live with the phone charger plug-in. But yeah, let's see. I'm curious to see if this microphone is working, or maybe you guys don't hear me now and it just looks like I'm saying nothing. Sound never changed. Okay. Let's try one more time. Maybe I got the magic touch this time. How about now? How about now? So Yerv says, hello again. What's up, Yerv? I appreciate the comment. But let's see. Jesse says, "What's up, brother? How you been?" I'm doing good, man. How you doing? You know, been hanging out for a little bit with the, hanging out with all the friends. I don't think there might have been a couple trolls, but we got some good moderators that are really fast, ruthless to trolls. So I didn't see anything really. Jesse says, not bad, not bad. That's good. That's good. But any arm wrestling questions? So let's see. Josh said should go phone, white cord, then black curly cord phone side. Has 3 black circles on the 3mm pin. So it should go phone. So let's see. Should go phone, white cord, then black curly cord phone side. Okay, all right. I see what you're saying. So we should have enough charge. I'm gonna unplug the phone. I'm gonna plug this in. Oh, I can still charge it because I forgot it has the extra thing. I can still charge it. Plug it to charge in. Now we're gonna try to plug in the phone to see if the microphone works. Jesse says, "LO, yeah, the troll are out full force this morning. They gotta be careful. They gotta be careful. They'll get the hammer." Let's see. Josh says, "Bingo." So I know there's delay, but can you hear me now? Because we have it all hooked up. Let's see. Is my phone charging? Is it say? But let me know if you can hear me in the microphone now, because now I have it. I got it hooked up. I got the phone side on phone. It's hooked into the charging port. I got the charger in as well. But yeah, let me know if you can hear me better now, because I have it all hooked up. Nick says, #1 troll here. This is actually a compliment. I don't think you're anywhere near the #1 troll. Now that's a compliment. That's a compliment because we've had some very, very, let's say, weird comments. And I think so far, I don't think any of your comments have been taken down, and you have no timeouts. You know, there's people out there with like 50 timeouts already, you know? But I appreciate that. Nick says, sound good. Josh says, we can hear you, but I think it's still using the phone mic. Okay. I'll keep on messing around with it. You know, I've rechanged, I've replugged it in, messed around with it. So Nick says, so you're saying I haven't been trying hard enough? Oh, well, you gotta try harder, man. You gotta try harder. Let's see. Josh says, if you made me an admin rather than a mod, I could ban people. LOL. Very true. Very true. Maybe we'll have like a competition of all the moderators. You know, the most efficient moderator will be promoted to a admin. We'll have the title of admin. Maybe we could do something like that. That's funny though. That's funny. Josh says LOL. Let's see. It's 8:45, so I can't see the time, but we've got to been on for over an hour, which is good. You know, but I'm probably gonna hop off soon. Get the next live situated. Let me know if you guys have any questions before I hop off. I'm gonna hop off in a couple minutes. We're gonna get the next live situated, the recovery lift. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Nick says workout time. Definitely is. Definitely is. But all right, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you had fun. And we will see you next time.